Thank you for listening to another video by Bayloric Boxing TV. Don't forget you can subscribe and follow us on Twitter at Bayloric TV Box In, or you can follow us on Facebook at Bayloric TV Boxing channel. Okay, let's get into this one. It's Adonis Superman Stevenson against Sakio Bika. Now, can you remember the night that Sakio Bika fought Joe Calzaghe? He was a complete unknown, and he gave Joe Calzaghe all he could want that night. The Southpaw Calzaghe, Bika was relatively unknown then, but after that fight, it was only a matter of time before Sakio Bika got himself a version of the world title. He's a guy from Sydney, Australia, via I believe the Cameroon. I could be wrong there, but very strong-willed, rugged customer. I think Bika's trying to add some sort of finesse to his style, but he's just rugged. He comes in with his head, his elbows, everything. He throws the kitchen sink, and never in a dull fight, Sakio Bika, and always gives his full, his all. And now he moves up to the light heavyweight championship to challenge Adonis Stevenson to fight for the light heavyweight championship of the world. Now, let's remember that Adonis Stevenson moved up from super middleweight up to light heavyweight and knocked out the champion Chad Dawson. So, people could say Chad Dawson was there for the taking, but Adonis Stevenson, we know, was a big puncher at super middleweight and is proving himself to be an awesome puncher up at light heavyweight. Can Sakio Bika, who was never the biggest puncher at super middleweight, now trouble the champion at light heavyweight? Now, the other thing is there with Sakio Bika, he's getting a little older. Now, bearing in mind, Stevenson's no spring chicken himself. I think he's 36 or 37, so he himself is knocking on the old clock of father time. Bearing in mind, again, with the likes of Bernard Hopkins not retiring until, almost 50, there is still life above fighters. Sakio Bika would have faced the best southpaw at super middle then, which would have been Joe Calzaghe. That experience surely would help against him going up to light heavyweight against Adonis Stevenson. But there's a problem. Adonis Stevenson is by far, pound for pound, one of the best punchers in the world today in boxing. I spoke to Ross Anbar, and Ross Anbar, who used to train Stevenson in Canada and was on the pads, he says that man hits as hard as anybody, or the hardest puncher I have come across in my life. And Ross Anbar, doesn't talk for talking's sake. He's trained fighters from grassroots, amateurs, right through to world champions. Otis Grant being one of those fighters. Of course, the gentleman down at middleweight at the moment, the big puncher from Canada, I can't remember his name again, but again, another fighter that was part of the Ross Anbar camp at one point. And he says Adonis Stevenson is the biggest one-punch man in boxing today, he thinks. And he believes, because of this, that Bika could get knocked out. I believe Bika gets knocked out in this fight, to be honest. I do believe Adonis Stevenson will be the first man to stop Bika. Because I think Bika will just come forward in straight lines. I don't believe Bika's going to give any lateral movement. He may catch Adonis here because he's rushing forward. But at the same time, when he's rushing forward, I think one of those straight left hands, Adonis won't have to go looking for Bika. And I believe he'll walk onto a left hand. And when he walks onto one of Stevenson's left hands, you're going to find himself in a lot of trouble. The thing with Stevenson, with me though, my biggest problem with Stevenson, and I saw it in the Tony Bellew fight, he is really a left hand. He's a one-handed fighter. That straight left hand is a booming straight left hand. Unlike Kovalev, who's got a left and a right hand, Adonis Stevenson kind of it's like a it's like an archer, bow and arrow style. Has to line you up to let a left hand go. Will Bika be too busy for Stevenson? That's the question. I don't think he will be. I think that you're going to find somebody in there who might well make the light heavyweight division. He's just coming into the light heavyweight division, whereas you've got a strong guy set at light heavy now, been around a while, and Bika may carry that little speed up with him. But again, Adonis Stevenson, I believe, wins this fight by knockout. I think he stops Bika inside 7. I really do. It could be even quicker than that, because I think Bika's going to get the shock of his life when he gets hit as hard as Stevenson's going to hit him. And of course, then we'll be looking forward to the fight between Kovalev and Stevenson. That really would be a fight made in heaven. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out. Before I end this video, I have to say, I have to correct myself. The best super middleweight, that was the Southpaw. I think you've got to add Andre Ward into that mix, clearly, because at the times, Bika was in his prime. I wouldn't say Bika was in his prime when Ward met him, but then who knows what you consider prime. But yeah, I would have said that, if you want to say Ward, you could say Ward was the best super middleweight. But, I guess it's debatable whether Calzaghe or Ward, who would have won that fight. But anyway, that's not what this is about. I just wanted to make that correction there about Ward and Calzaghe and make clarity on that. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks for listening.